Hello, hello. Week 2. Can you believe it's week 2? I totally survived week 1. So I hope you enjoyed last week. I'm Laurie Starkey. If you don't know me, if you're new to my channel or if you're returning, I'm so glad to have you back. Welcome. So this week I did a bunch of new recipes for us. This first one that these first couple that you're gonna see are gonna be cucumbers with a cream cheese and goat cheese mix. I just wanted to do something simple. We needed an appetizer because we were starving and the food was gonna take longer than it should have. So I had some cucumbers and so I just grabbed the goat cheese and the cream cheese so we'd have some different flavors and whipped it up. A little bit of garlic salt, but you could use any seasoning you want. And honestly, you could use almost any soft cheese you wanted to if you wanted to use boursin or something else. So I hope you enjoyed that. It was just me being quick on the fly, but a vegetable with some cheese on it always seems like a good option for we gotta wait until dinner's ready. And then the next one is Fathead Pizza. Now I've tried Fathead Pizza a couple times. I don't know if I've talked to you guys about it, but I've tried it a couple times and I confused the difference between wax paper and parchment paper. And so the first time I made it, it totally tore the pizza up terribly because I used wax paper. Then my CO, the controller of operations for my publishing company, came down and visited with me for a while, and she made it. It was way better than mine, and not necessarily the ingredients, but she used parchment paper and explained to me the difference, and the dough didn't stick at all. So we made Fathead Pizza this last week, and I hope you totally enjoy the recipe. I really think this is one of those things that you just need to learn how to make the dough, and then you could honestly put anything you want on it. So my middle daughter, Allie, who's on this journey with me, this keto journey, and if you don't know, I'm doing the ketogenic lifestyle. So super excited for you to come along the journey with me, or just watch me go through it and stumble and break my teeth a few times. There'll be a link up here for the cards that will show you the introduction video if you're interested in checking that out. But anyways, back to the story, Laurie. Allison, my middle child who's doing this with me, she works at a pizza place here in Franklin, Tennessee, where we live. And she was like, Mom, we could do all kinds of stuff now that we've got the actual pizza crust down, the Fathead crust down, to where it's fantastic. And it makes a large, the one I'm going to show you this week makes a large pizza. You could always back off and have fun figuring out what you want to pull back, the size, what size you want to pull back to. But you could put any toppings you want. So I had pepperoni and salami and some olives and probably a few other things I threw in there, but you could do a pesto base with mozzarella cheese, grilled chicken, pieces of goat cheese, sun-dried tomatoes. What else would go on there? Pine nuts. Pine nuts would be so good on there. Or you could do a mushroom pizza where you just did like an olive oil base instead of the red tomato sauce, which we know tomatoes are a little high in carbs. So you could just do the olive oil and then sprinkle in some garlic salt maybe, and sprinkle your cheese on there, and then do different types of mushrooms that you either have raw, or I always like to saute my mushrooms before I put them on any pizza or anything. But you could do just about anything you wanted to. So check out this recipe, enjoy it, and I hope that you make a great pizza too. If you do, man, I'd love to see a picture or a link to your recipe or anything you want to put down in the comments. That would be totally awesome. But just enjoy.
All right, up first we have cucumber and cream cheese appetizer. We were starving this day, and so I just decided to whip up something real quick. A little bit of veggie, a little bit of cheese, perfect for the keto diet. So for this one, you're gonna need some Philadelphia cream cheese, and I have some goat cheese here, some garlic salt, and either a full-size English cucumber, or you can do some of the miniature ones, which you'll see I have. So I've already put in there 4 ounces of cream cheese and 2 ounces of goat cheese. I am weighing this because I want to make sure when I put the recipe together in MyFitnessPal that I know exactly what my macros look like. I'm just sprinkling a little bit of garlic salt. I bet it's about half a teaspoon that I put in there. But MyFitnessPal has this great area where you can build a recipe, and then you can put how many servings it is, and then you can add it right to your tracker. So super duper helpful. I absolutely love it. And just, anyways, great tool. So mix those together, and you could actually, and of course I'm going to sample it here. I'm trying to be cute. I'm so cute. No, I'm just kidding. You could use any cheese you wanted. You could have used boursin cheese. You could have used cream cheese and cheddar cheese, like shredded cheddar cheese. Cream cheese and shredded Gouda or Swiss, or any cheese that you want to. I just decided to do goat cheese because it's pretty strong. So when you mix it with the cream cheese, it just kind of softens the flavor just a little bit. Now these English cucumbers are different than regular cucumbers in that you don't have to take the skin off. I know I've mentioned that before in some of my recipes, but I love these. I used to fight against it, but my mom always got them, but I would get regular ones and peel them because the skin is so bitter, but these are delicious with the skin on. And I've got about 1.5 inches there, 1 to 1.5 inches. It just depends on what you want to do. I wanted them thick enough to where, like right here, you can see I could actually carve out the center so I could shove some of the cream cheese down in there. Now, if you were doing this for a party or something, you want to take your time and maybe not angle the knife so much so that you could get more of the center out. Because as you'll see in a minute when I start stuffing it, I can kind of get the cream cheese on the top, but it ain't going down in that hole real well. And of course, I'm using goat cheese is pretty stiff. Cream cheese, super soft. Goat cheese is pretty stiff. So you'll see I have a little bit of an issue here, but this was a snack for me and Allison in the middle of the day, and I thought, hey, this is no big deal. This one actually makes about 12 little boats is what I'm calling them. We had 2 or 3 boats for our snack, but we put the rest in the fridge, like in a Tupperware, and they were fantastic to eat later. Yes, and so anyways, I put them on this little plate, and then you'll see us in a minute try these out. I could have done this with tomatoes or small bell peppers or anything. Just think about that. If you have a vegetable in the fridge, you could totally like use it and then stuff it with some sort of cheese. I could have added in chopped ham or anything, just something to get in my fats. Forgive my greasy hair. It's been a really long week. We did a ton of baking this day for the restaurant, trying out new recipes. So we both look like hell in a handbasket. Me, way more than Allie. That's Allie. See me trying to be cute, only eating a bite, and she inhales it. I'm like, oh wait, let me just inhale mine too. It turned out so stinking good. All right, up next, Fathead Pizza Keto style. I have talked about this on several of my videos before. For this Fathead Pizza, I am absolutely in love with it, and you'll see in the Thursday video coming up, today's the Tuesday video, but in the Thursday video coming up, we're actually going to make kolaches or pigs in a blanket out of this same fathead dough, but so stinking simple and so crazy delicious. And I'll share a tip with you when we get to the oven part that we tried after this recipe. We tried it again, and it worked even better because I love crunchy pizza. So anyways, for this one, you're going to need mozzarella cheese, cream cheese, almond flour, an egg, baking powder, Italian seasoning, and garlic salt. If you don't have Italian seasoning, you can totally use basil and oregano or one or the other. Totally up to you what you want to do. You could even use garlic salt only. You don't have to have the Italian seasoning. So the best thing about this Fathead Pizza is it's pretty much all made in this bowl. And so you put 2 cups of shredded mozzarella cheese and 1 ounce of cream cheese, or 2 tablespoons if you have a tablespoon measuring. And I just kind of cut it up. I know you saw that a minute ago, and I dropped it in so it would melt faster. So it goes in a microwave safe bowl, and you put it in the microwave for 45 seconds. And that will start the melting process. A lot of recipes say that's it, like, okay, 45 seconds is it. I actually do it twice. So you'll see I take it out here, I mush it up a little bit, start stirring it, just to kind of get it incorporated, but it's not really at the consistency you want. So I put it back for 45 more seconds, guys. So that's 1.5 minutes total. And now you see like it's really at a good consistency. So I'm gonna stir that bad boy up. And just remember for your toppings, you can put anything you want on here. I'm just doing the dough recipe, and you'll see the pizza we made, obviously. But just make sure you put it in MyFitnessPal, the dough recipe that I'm giving you, plus whatever toppings you want. So I add an egg directly to the bowl, and then I'm gonna add in 1 cup of almond flour. Now, if you have a nut allergy or if you don't like almond flour, you could try coconut flour. I've not tried it. Or you could do, like the rest of us do, and just Google, hey, how do I make Fathead Pizza without almond flour? I'm sure there's tons of stuff out there that will help you. So 1 egg, 1 cup of almond flour. Now I'm adding 1 teaspoon of baking powder. Yep, remember, baking powder is not baking soda. It's not the orange box in the fridge like I mentioned. It's the one that goes in your pantry. I did not have Italian seasoning. I broke my Italian seasoning and it spilled everywhere. Oh, there's Cutie. Hello. So I broke mine and it spilled everywhere. So I just used half a teaspoon of basil and half a teaspoon of oregano because I had it. If you have Italian seasoning, you can just do 1 teaspoon, 1 full teaspoon of Italian seasoning, but I didn't. And 2 of the main ingredients in Italian seasoning are basil and oregano. You could do fresh too. I would assume fresh would work just as delicious as these dried ones, but these worked really, really well too. And then I just do a sprinkle of garlic salt. I'm a little bit addicted to this Laurie's garlic salt. It is my favorite. You can get it at Sam's in a massive jar, and then you can just get the smaller one at Kroger's or your local grocery store, and I just keep refilling that small one because we use it on everything, and I do mean like everything. So I kind of started using the spoon, and you'll see later in videos when Allison does this for us again, she's going to do a video for us soon. She uses the spoon the whole time to really mix the fathead dough together, but I'm becoming a baker, so I totally use my hand there. That's totally up to you. You can do whatever you want to do. I do have parchment paper here. Remember, I've talked before the difference between parchment paper and wax paper. Please use parchment paper here. You could have had a square pan. I have a big round one. I know this is gross, but I'm putting butter on my hands because Mary, one of my best friends, told me that this was the best way to do it, to actually spread the dough out. I've seen people, instead of putting butter on their hands, they put oil, like an olive oil or avocado oil, to help spread that dough. You want it really flat and all the way out to the edge of the pan, as thin as you can get it, because then it'll get a little bit crispy, unless you like yours not crispy, and then make it a little bit thicker, and you'll be good to go. But you could put any grease you want on your hands, or you could put another piece of parchment on top of that, and you could have just pushed it out on top of the parchment. That would have worked well too. So we're going in the oven at 450 degrees. And this is awesome because what happens here is we put it in here, and let it cook, and you're really just letting the crust cook so it doesn't get super soggy, because remember, this is cheese. It doesn't have thick flour in it. And then you can start working on all your goodies. That crust cooked 15 to 20 minutes in the oven while I was getting this stuff ready. And I decided to top ours with mushrooms, sauteed mushrooms. You could do fresh mushrooms. You could do anything you wanted to. But I did sauteed mushrooms. So you see me cutting up. This is how I cut my mushrooms. I cut them in half, and then I cut a little bit of the top, and then I just dice them really well. I've got a little bit of Kerrygold here. And again, I didn't have this at the beginning of the recipe because this is what we chose to top ours with. You top your pizza with whatever you want to top it with. But I'm going to go ahead and put a tablespoon of Kerrygold in there, and I'm going to saute up my mushrooms because I don't like raw mushrooms, but I absolutely adore sauteed mushrooms. So getting those all in the heat, gonna stir those up, and then I'll start chopping some of the other things. And honestly, guys, I went into my fridge and said, like, what toppings do we have that would work on pizza, which is what I do a lot of times. I'm big on reusing leftovers. So I had these olives that I know you guys have seen. We got those from Sam's. We've been eating on them. They have 0 net carbs. We've been eating on those for days. So I just took those, both Guatemala olives and green olives. They're already pitted for me, and they have some oil on them, so the fat content is excellent on these. And I just kind of sliced them. Back in the day, I tried pizza. I've eaten pizza my entire life, but I tried it with green olives maybe like 10 years ago. And I like green olives, but I don't love green olives. I'm going to tell you straight up, there is not a piece of pizza that I ate on this one that I didn't try to get more green olives on. They're so freaking good on pizza. If you haven't tried it, you have to try it. So I have some boar's head pepperoni here, and I'm just slicing it up. And you could put it on there just like it is in its little rounds, but because this pizza crust is so thin and it doesn't hold up really, really well. Again, remember, it's cheese. It's melted cheese mostly. I know it's got almond flour, but I chopped everything up really small so that it didn't weigh down the pizza at any one particular point. I did the same thing with some salami. See, the pink stuff is the salami. It was the exact same little rounds as the pepperoni, same part of my grocery store over there by the smoked meats. And so I chopped everything up and got it ready. Here's our pizza crust. Now, in this video, I just flip the crust over and I start making the pizza, but in a later video, I actually flip the crust over like this. You see, I put a piece of parchment on top, I flip it over, and then I put it back in the oven for 4 to 5 minutes, and y'all, the pizza crust got even crunchier and held up even better. So one thing that's not in my recipe you might want to consider is at this point, go ahead and put it back in that oven for 3 to 4 minutes so that the other side of the crust can get really well done. So I decided to use this Classico, this is actually spaghetti sauce. And here's where some of your carbs come in, unfortunately, right? There's 10 grams of carbs there for half a cup. I was very careful. Now, I've seen like RAO, a version of spaghetti sauce or pizza sauce that people are using everywhere on the internet. I think it's RAO. I'll link it below for sure for you guys. I'll go do the research, but it supposedly has a lot less sugar. I would just encourage you when you go to the store to take a few minutes to really look at it. Now remember, you're only going to use about 3 or 4 tablespoons. So don't worry too much about this. And then you're going to make 8 to 12 slices. So you're really not going to get a whole lot of, carbs out of those tomatoes. Okay, so I put the tomato sauce on. I go really close to the edge. The edge of this pizza was delicious. And then I put mozzarella right here. You could use any cheese you wanted to. This is really like, you could be an absolute artist right here, like an artisan food cooker, pizza maker. How exciting. And I love pizza. So I'm spreading all the pepperoni, and then I'm going to spread all that chopped up salami all over it. And then I will add in my sauteed mushrooms on top. Again, you could have onions, bell peppers, hamburger. You could have little slices of fresh mozzarella. You could have done like a chicken pesto pizza. You could have done a Mexican pizza. The sky is legitly the limit. So once you learn how to make this crust, you're going to be so excited. I'm actually going to try it soon where I make individual pizzas so that we can have a make your own pizza night. What I did not expect was that my son, who's 14 and insanely picky, absolutely loved this pizza. Like, it was crazy. I couldn't believe it that he came down. Every time I make it now, he comes down and he eats this pizza. And he's not real fond of like normal pizza that we would get from Pizza Hut or some other great place. But I always add a little bit of extra cheese to the top. I just think it looks pretty, and who doesn't want just a little bit more cheese? So remember, the crust was anywhere from 15 to 20 minutes. You watch it, and when it gets real dark like that, you take it out. And then I would have flipped it and put it in for 5 more minutes so that you could get the other side really good and done. And then you're gonna pop it back in that same 450-degree oven, anywhere from 5 to 8 minutes. Now you're just waiting for your cheese to melt. And voila, look how delicious that is. My family has absolutely fallen in love with this.
All right, was that awesome or what? Man, I tell you what, if I was on death row and I got one meal left to my name, it would definitely be pizza. So I'm a pizza connoisseur. I love every kind of pizza you can imagine, and it doesn't matter where we go, where we're traveling, I'm always looking for some great pizza. So to find this fathead dough and be able to make any pizza that I want, just fantastical. Hey, if you enjoyed this and you like what we're up to over here, please make sure you hit the subscribe button. And if you want to, you can click that little bell notification. That'll just let you know every time I upload new videos or new content or any of that good stuff. I'd love to have you come join me. So thanks. I hope you have a really great week, and I will see you again, gosh, probably tomorrow. Later.